say like, oh, we don't really play this map that much. That's a little bit disappointing to hear when they're the ones who have the most opportunities. Looking at the agent selection, you've got Brando on the Sage, Superman on the Omen, Def playing Cypher, no surprise there. Psalm going with the Reyna pick, and they're going to be moving in towards this B site. Rounding things out is going to be the Rays.
Now Cypher on the defense, which is interesting. It's the double smokes, the double controller that certainly caught my attention. Omen's really good on this map, and Drone just takes up a bit too much space. What else going to actually follow suit? Maybe this is something actually Echo 8 aren't necessarily expecting. It's a nice close-in angle, especially when it comes to Sub-Rose, if he's going to not check the angle. But look at the spray, and Wardell getting 4! Nobody checks it. Can he get the ace? Of course he can. Fuck, what a brilliant way to start this game.
That is just nuts. I mean, what do you say about that? Wardell gets back behind the boxes and just guns them down as they come around the corner. One of the things that I love about Wardell, all my time spent in CS working events with Matt playing, he was one of the quietest players you would ever see on stage. Almost no reaction, even when surrounded with players who were very volatile with their emotions. Now he's playing this game, and it's like a completely different person. It actually kind of freaked me out the first few times I saw clips of him standing up and flexing and screaming. I love the energy that he brings to the team. And you know he just got up and popped off in the voice chat. Great first round coming out from Wardell. Really sets a statement for the pace of the match, as it was looking a little promising off the start, but Wardell just completely stomps that one out. So moving into this next round, TSM going to be floating off the economy a little bit by using the Ghost still in play here. Sabrosa actually is going to get one. There's a Force Spy coming in here as well. Psalm with that Spectre able to get the trade, and they actually have a player advantage as well as, I believe it is Drone that's also been taken out of the equation.
Wardell just only dedicated to the Marshal. He'll probably have more money to buy whatever the hell he wants after that ace. Here was me saying, nah, he's only going to get like 15 frags today. He's 1/3 of the way of getting that already in the first round. But it's not done just yet. Hayes just got to push up relatively close, but sort of caught between a rock and a hard place. He drops down the rope as people go up a bit. Oh, that was a bit awkward, but Wardell is catching more people out. Superman gets downed, and even the ultimate coming out now. Bladestorm is going to be used aggressively, dashing onto the site, gets a little bit of damage onto the Sage, but not enough. Sam is going to put in a bit of damage, gets the triple kill. Now it's a 1v1.
Yeah, not really much time for Psalm to get away there as the ice was down. The dismiss almost gets him around the corner, but it's not quite enough. Again, that was a Force Spy coming in from Echo 8, so they spent some extra money. So you'll see probably some gun juggling here. Cutler's going to go ahead and upgrade to the Phantom, tosses the Spectre over to Drone. I'm kind of curious to see what the rest of the buy will look like. You saw Wardell go for that early ult pop as well, given the ace and pistol round had already built up the charges quite a bit. This should be a full save coming out, though, from Echo 8, given that the last round didn't work out so well for them. But they might just force again. Who knows?
It was a big gamble. It didn't quite pay off. Sam playing the Reyna is certainly an interesting one. I think a lot of people thought that Reyna was going to come into the game a little bit too strong, but really, we haven't seen all that much of it. I think it's only really Scream that I've seen that plays it over in the EU. Fish 1, 2, 3, but every game that they've played, lost. So it's not really a good stand-in for how good Reyna could be. I'm interested to see where this goes. It's not done and dusted at all for Echo 8. They still have the whole game ahead of them. But this is pretty much the perfect start for your team SoloMid.
I mean, here's the thing with Reyna, right? Reyna isn't the worst agent. Like Viper currently is the least played. So it's not necessarily on that caliber, but definitely not the most popular when it comes to the duelists currently in rotation. Psalm tries to get aggro with the Leer. There's a flash as well coming out from the Omen. That's the Paranoia popping down. Spike being dropped as well. The remaining two were actually in B main. And you can see it's actually Aaron who plays the Rays, trying to sneak in, getting peppered up by Cutler, who finally finishes off that target. It will be Def, currently in a 1-on-3. The Spike is down inside the smoke, and as the smoke pops, he's surrounded. Def coming in from the Counter-Strike world, but can't match the performance of his cohorts. 3-0 to start for TSM.
And they're just styling right now. A few ultimates coming online for Echo 8, though. Quite surprisingly, considering it's been all TSM so far, at least. Some big aggressive ones to open up a site, but right now, it seems that they're not looking to just execute onto A or B on its own. There's a nice wide split between the teams. And they've opted for the red dragon skin, Wardell. A man of culture, I see. A man of class. I personally prefer the black and blue because it reminds me of the Drakes from World of Warcraft, but it doesn't matter though. Wardell is going to get those frags no matter what dragon gun you give him. He's going to get the kills, and he always looks good when he does it.
He's playing on the edge of this smoke. You know, we talk about the other three quite a lot, but Cutler and Hayes coming in with heaping helpings of experience in the Counter-Strike world, most notably playing with that Mousepaz and CLG roster for such a long period of time. Hayes is actually going to peek up over top of the wall, taking down that initiator. There's the molly, the hot hands going down on Aaron as well. It's just not looking so good right now for the side of Echo 8. Now Brando has brought it down to 2 with the Sheriff work. No res currently for the Sage. Self-heal available, no armor. Wall is there, double slow orb as well, but doesn't want to likely waste that. Bring that into the next round if possible. Cutler up in heaven, playing the Omen, able to get the final kill of that round. You know, it's not fair, really, Cutler playing the Omen as a bald man myself. He's got the paranoia as one flash, and then if he just looks down, he's got a second. That's totally unfair. Us bald guys can't have that double flash meta.
I mean, honestly, yeah, like, as a guy that is gradually losing my hair, my dad is bald. It's the way to be, personally. It was my biggest nightmare, going bald like
Low
my dad.
maintenance.
But after seeing you, WTF Moses, I'm thinking I could pull it off. These guys look great. I feel like when we're like next to each other on camera, it's what I wish my beard looked like versus what it is when it looks at mine, with how just like untamed it is. But speaking of untamed, that's not TSM. They are playing a really well-disciplined game of Valorant. And they're even allowing themselves to just go out and strut their stuff. But 4 ultimates available for Echo 8. All of them, apart from the Resurrect, like you highlighted before, it was obviously going to be Brando. The last one alive didn't have Resurrect, but it was funny that everybody else on the team did. But look how patiently they're taking this. Even dedicating the Empress. We're not really pushing on mid, not doing too much. So need to be careful that they actually get used for it, going up against Drone, battling towards the rope room.
Right now, it is interesting to see this Sageless comp over on B. And you can see, as a result, Echo 8 wants to go towards that B site quite a bit. They want to try and flex towards B whenever possible. You've got this interesting composition. Again, we mentioned it. TSM, kind of the team that tries to set trends. So typically you would see Cutler playing that Cypher, but has opted to go for the Omen, which we would sometimes see Sabrosa play. So there's the ult pop. That rocket not necessarily going to go down as the paranoia is just too powerful. It's so incredibly strong. Superman starts to make it into the site with the ult, and there's the retake of sorts into the site. Coming through is going to be TSM trying to get back in, trying to prevent that spike from being planted, but it will go down back behind the default box. Superman, as the Omen, has the possibility to try and TP out of this, but knows not really going to have that capability. Just trying to play back behind this box. Peeking up, spots out the first target in Drone. It's a one-on-one against an up, but it's Wardell. Doesn't make a difference. 3 kills coming in from Superman as Echo 8 finally get themselves on the board here in the 5th round.
I think TSM were expecting like a 5-head play there, like a teleport, but the smart play was just to stay where you are. I think it's a quote from Inception where the one place that people don't expect us to be is right where we are. And it seems to work out really well there for Superman, that just held his discipline, didn't panic, just sat in that position, gave away his position even as well when it comes to the high ground, but just peeked them. And unfortunately, TSM weren't able to peek Superman at the same time. They staggered, and it allowed a couple of 1v1s. So great play. Depth is going to try and open up the kill feed very quickly, but actually Drone decides that he doesn't want to peek that corner quite wisely. It's a silly thing to do, but all of the operators are going to be key here. Wardell almost catches the kill, but smoke puts him off enough that he can't land the shot. Just quite, at least.
He does get the heal as well coming in from Hayes as he goes for the retreat, trying to reposition over towards the A site. You know, the reason we saw that clutch from Superman was because of a change not that long ago to this map where that box became solid. You could not spam through it anymore. Back in the early stages of the game, you could spam that box. He wouldn't have been able to do that, so being able to duck down behind that box opened up that opportunity. It's the small changes to the map that have given the attacking side just a little bit more of a leg up than they previously had. Still very defense-sided. Now, again, we see this passive play we saw in the last map. This time, though, it's going to be Sabrosa. It's not going to be Nicholas who was doing it for the likes of Code 7. Sabrosa finds 2. Wardell, meanwhile, picking one off with the operator. No surprise there. It's what he does best. It's down to Brando, the Sage, trying to work up ramp, but the round's already pretty much lost. 30 seconds left. Spike in their possession. Wardell says, 3 kills on the round, please. I'd like similar.
11-3. 6 rounds in. Well, 7 rounds now as we go to the 7th, but that's a lot of kills. 13-7 is, I wasn't expecting Wardell to pop up as much as this. I've obviously well aware of the player, but the opportunity to cast him, I wasn't wanting to hype myself up too much, like, oh, it's Wardell. I don't want to put pressure and expect he's going to have a crazy game, but he's treating us all. I can understand why Twitch chat want to see TSM play when they spoil us like this. Echo 8, we were expected to, you know, really throw out a few curveballs, so to speak, but TSM just aren't buying it. It's the difference between them and Immortals, but Superman actually catches it out, forces the resurrect early from Hazed. The wall and the slow has been thrown in, but look how many people are stacked up towards mid, even to the point that Sabrosa was going to use the orbital strike. Unfortunately, Aaron's pink shields catch him out completely, and it's going to be a bit of a kerfuffle happening towards mid.
There's Drone popping off. That's just what Drone does, kind of the filler piece there. People like to profile Wardell on this team, but Drone is just so insanely good. During the early stages of this team's development, Drone was that hard carry. Drone was so incredibly good. You know, we mentioned the other players. We mentioned Wardell and Sabrosa's journey. Drone played for teams like Splice and Envy that were kind of dead-end teams. The roster just didn't fully flesh out. In fact, when he got his opportunity to finally join a Pro League team, that was after multiple retirements in Counter-Strike, ended up coming back, joined Splice. They get relegated like days later, and he has to play through another season of MDL before making it into Pro League. That's the kind of player he was, though. He continued to grind it out despite the fact that opportunities that were left in front of him literally got taken away just days later. He is so good, and you'll hear it actually from his team as well. They'll praise him for being one of the calmest players in the comms, in a round, in any given situation.
He's having his time to shine. It's always great to hear players, even if they were from different games, that have grinded it out, become a staple, build up their own Twitch viewership, those kind of things. And already we have seen a run it back used on the defense from Sabrosa that doesn't spot up all that much. But yet again, there's a bit of a congregation happening for the attackers of Echo 8 towards mid. Sabrosa and Hazed have it pretty much on lockdown, but it seems that Drone is going to come in and offer a little bit of support. Hayes managing to get the pixel perfect angle just to spot where Superman was. Throws up the wall. The Resurrect is available on the attack if they want to bring back the Omen player. Cutler's actually switched his position around to be on A, which is interesting. Sabrosa wanted to use the orbital strike this time. Doesn't quite catch the Cypher on his left-hand side, but it doesn't matter too much. The wall breaks nicely, offers up a nice little avenue, and TSM right now are just spoiling this ball.
Nice pickoff as well there coming in from Hayes towards the end, as it's a fadeaway shot coming out of the Phantom. 7-1. A strong start for TSM, but everyone expected to see this, and they also get to start on the defense, which certainly helps given the current meta with Split being super defense-sided. That first half we saw in the previous match where Code 7 put up serious rounds on the attacking side. That's definitely not the norm. So it's obvious that Echo 8's going to struggle in the first half, given the mismatch in general, but also the fact that they're starting on that attack. But they just really haven't gotten their foot in the door at all. So again, it's back down to this broken money where you've got the Sheriff in the hands of Def. Wardell with that, honestly, kind of goofy-looking operator skin. Almost a little distracting at times. Holding down A ramp right now. There they come right around the corner. They're going to be popping that ult potentially as Aaron has it available. They've got 4 ults also. So they've got the res. They've got the Empress, and they've also got the Omen TP. Wardell hits the shot despite the paranoia coming through. Haste is also going to connect. Dispatching of Superman. Empress has been popped, and that's the aggressive play coming in from Psalm with just a pistol. But the round didn't really work out too well for Psalm despite that ult, and it will be an 8th on the board for TSM.
I think everybody on this TSM roster has had an opportunity to shine, even those playing a more supportive role, Cutler and Hazed. Doesn't all have to be Wardell or Drone with the 4K that he got earlier. But this has been an absolute schooling, and I was kind of more concerned about Team SoloMid. They did play a tournament a couple of days ago. Granted, it was a charity tournament, but they didn't look the same. They had Myth in their roster, which is nothing against Myth, but generally the whole team played with their foot off the gas a little bit. They weren't taking it as seriously as they may have done with this tournament. But they're just showing us, nope, we are fully trying our hardest in this tournament. We are still the scariest team in NA, and they're doing it with pizzazz, Bok. Like, the way that they're playing this game is a sight to behold.
Drone's getting aggressive as well. No surprise there. He's feeling it right now. Wants to take the fight to their doorstep. Doesn't realize there's one more around the corner. So Def there with the punish. Def looks so good when he filled in with FaZe during the T1 and Nerve Street Gamer showdown. There's the ult coming in. He actually goes up into it and takes a little bit more damage. Wardell is down to 23. Has to watch out for the nade that's currently there. Goes for the reload. No, never mind. Just continuing to wait for the push to come through. There's the reload coming out on the operator. So it will be one of the more promising rounds we've seen as they've gotten site control. The spike going down in just a moment. Wardell starting to peek towards Aaron. Aaron doesn't even get a shot out from the rifle. So now it's a 2-on-3. The numbers advantage going the direction of TSM. It's now down to 1. It's Psalm who's coming in as a bit of a roster change, but it doesn't work out so well for him yet again. Surprise, surprise. It's been that way throughout this first half entirely. It's going to be 9-1 now. TSM just looks so incredibly good.
They win this game, they are in the playoffs. With if Echo 8 lose it, they will be qualifying the group. So this would be a nasty way for them to go out of it. You were sort of expecting them to be maybe second place, the second seed within Group A. It's not looking likely that they even get out of groups at this point. It's absolutely staggering what TSM is doing here. They're just schooling them really at this point. 9-1 on the scoreline. You would expect them to finish up relatively quickly. And it's a shame, really, considering how much we were expecting to see from Echo 8. We're expecting them to do some good work, to be one of those teams to impress people relatively unknown, leaving this tournament potentially with a few more fans. But right now, it's all TSM. They're taking all of the glory and they're doing it in style.
Now they're going to be going after Cutler, who's over on this B site. And Cutler just backing off, using that wall for some cover. As the ult gets popped, Cutler's going to get one. Has to be careful, though. Very low on HP. Wardell with a quick shot does manage to take out Aaron. But there's a fast trade coming in from Superman, who is actually responsible for the one-round win thus far for the side of Echo 8. And as they go for the swing, it's a double peek coming out. Good communication and coordination coming in from TSM. No surprise there. Wardell trying to hit 20 in the first half as we move into the final round. It's 10-1. Double digits already secured for TSM.
Well, even then, like, obviously TSM are very much in the lead right now, Bug, but just even how they played that, certainly Cutler on the Omen, he didn't over-aggressively push as they were making their way onto the B site. He was patient. He picked a nice position. It was a nice orbital strike that came out of Sub Rosa just to put a bit more pressure on the attackers as they came onto the site, and he just held his guard. He didn't try and do too much. He didn't try and have a five-head play. He just did his job. He did his role. It can just be as disciplined and straightforward as that. Let the other players shine, and this is a nice bit of intel that the defenders are able to get. Wardell's now playing very aggro, but can get out of there. That's the beauty of playing Jet. But yet again, it's Drone that gets the majority of the damage done with a nice double kill. Wardell's actually missing. I think there's something wrong with my screen, but because that seems very uncharacteristic of what we've seen from Wardell so far.
Yeah, Wardell looking like Whiffley snipes currently as the shots just didn't come through from the operator. Great play coming in from Drone, and the res after regulation, obviously, just for the memes. You can see, obviously, the scoreboard currently bugged, so only the top performer is going to be visible for this second half. Also, give some leniency to our observers as all of the binds swap in half. It's a bug that Riot is well aware of, and they're working on a fix. Hopefully, it'll be fixed very soon. So you might see some T-tours in chat as we move into the second half. Luckily for the observers, I don't think it's actually going to be that long. If we see a pistol round victory here from TSM, it's going to be over pretty quick.
Easy shift. Like, obviously a lot of people in Twitch chat wanted to see this game, but I don't know. Do people want to see close games between teams, or do they just want to see TSM slap people about a bit? I'm not quite sure what people are interested in when it comes to watching some of these games, but I just can't wait to see what TSM do when they go up into the quarterfinals, the semis, the grand finals, if they, of course, get there. Seeing how they play against some of these bigger teams. Like, they're certainly going to be firm favourites. They just needed to remind people that they're firm favourites going into it.
Great play coming out early from Aaron as the nades do fantastic damage. Cutting things down to 3. But Drone, oh, Drone's in such a good position. Wall on the ropes, puts one to the back of the skull of Brando. There's the flash coming around the corner as well. The Omen has to back out, as does his support. Drone's going to be running around thunderfooting as the spike is actually going the opposite direction. So they're going to be backing out despite the fact that they had ramp control. They're going to be going towards the B site where you've only got the Cypher. Now, they're not exactly being quiet about this, so Cypher is going to be moving back towards the stairs. The camera's going to be the first thing that spots them. Smoke's going to go down. Def is going to try to spam through. Does end up dropping Sabrosa, which was the player with the most HP. Going to be another one for Def, and it all comes down to one. It'll be Cutler, who's in the clutch position here. Inside the smoke is one. Waiting for him is Superman, and in the Omen duel, Superman comes out on top. A second round being given over to Echo 8.
Nice play from Def. Like, he was just so patient waiting on the B site, just anchored it perfectly. As you would expect from Cypher, right? It's pretty much always the place that you want your Cypher player to be playing. I don't think there's any teams that put Cypher on a different site for split, right? None really come to mind when it comes to where they place him. But all he did was wait there. He didn't rotate over aggressively, he just held his own, and it actually caught TSM completely off guard. And Echo 8 have doubled the rounds that they've got in this game, but they have to get a hell of a lot more if they want to bring this back.
Def spots one with the aggressive camera placement in B main. Drone takes out the cam and then backs off. In my mind, that's a win. If you're on TSM, taking out that cam early, putting it on that ridiculously long cooldown at this point. Drone starting to work his way back towards B main where he initially spotted him. The rest of the team currently sitting back in mid, trying to work their way towards Heaven. There's two currently defending it. There's the Sage and the Raze. If a nade comes down, a lot of damage could be dealt. There's the Ice coming in, could slow them down. Great damage to Wardell off that nade, drops him down to 37 HP.
So far, Echo 8 are just chipping him away. Everybody's alive, even a heal be dedicated, brings it down. Aaron does eventually get killed, but it's fair to say the damage is already done with the triple kill that he picked up. The rest of Echo 8 can clean up shop. Third round for Echo 8. It was expected. TSM didn't really have the money to buy there, didn't force, didn't really need to. But now you can imagine that they're going to pick up the big guns. Maybe even an operator for Wardell if he saved up his pocket money at least. But definitely going to see the Vandals or Phantoms, whatever these teams and players like to use. But considering it's split, I imagine there's going to be a fair few Phantoms on both sides.
That's the interesting thing, right? Right after the patch that kind of balanced things out a little bit differently, we saw a lot of players going to the Vandal and switching back towards the Phantom in the long run. Superman playing close and aggressive with the SMG right on the other side of that one's going to make it work. Wardell goes up vertically and starts to float his way towards the ropes, but it doesn't go so well for him. And it's down to now just one. It's Cutler. That is an impressive round coming in from Echo 8 and the kind of round that you need to pick up when the scoreline looks like this.
It requires plays as aggressive as that one. Superman holding close with the Spectre. When you still have these guns, you got to play to their advantage, right? Especially if you know that TSM are going to be buying Phantoms or Vandals, bigger guns, then if you have an SMG, well, I want to fight them close. I don't want to take an engagement against them at distance. So it was clever. It did a lot of damage to TSM, and they weren't able to really recover. It was nice to see Wardell playing with the new Elder Flame Judge, but like you highlighted, he just jumped over and glided over an enemy, didn't spot them, and it was an easy frag for them. But maybe next time we can see it come into action as we see a bit more of a half-buy yet again from TSM. The dunk from Aaron right into the air with the showstopper. You would expect this to be another round good towards Echo 8. We could see it come all the way back, Bok, but somehow I doubt it.
Aaron almost touching the skybox at that point.
Yeah.
With that showstopper so high. The verticality coming in from the Raze. Drone steps in the hot hands for like half a second, gets an additional maybe 5 to 7 HP to try and round out his health just a little bit more. The spike is currently at the bottom of ropes. It's in the hands of Wardell. He doesn't have his trusty operator. He's on a Vandal. Now, the good thing is, with the noise that's being made towards B by his teammates, they're starting to pull this Omen out of position. With the position currently from the Omen, they've actually got the site free and clear. So there's the smoke coming down, but Wardell, I do not like this play so much. It's all about timing. Almost gets caught as he comes through. It's a bit of a gamble, given that he had the spike, but it will be the site lost.
I mean, it's Wardell, it's a gamble. This is what he does. He lives life on the edge, but it was good play now because of all of the control the TSM have on this attack on the retake. There's one frag, just one more now, which is Depth, who is going to slowly make his way over to the site. Might save, really hard to say, but seems to be gravitating towards that area. Runs into drone, that opens up things a little bit more nicely in this 1 versus 2. Wardell changed up his positioning, has a nice aggressive off angle on this right-hand side. I love the fact that we have X-rays in this game. The camera's not going to quite spot him. He's just going to run out. Wardell's just going to line that shot up. It's a 50 round for TSM, but nevertheless, it puts him on match point.
So it was inevitable they were going to get to this point, right? Like, we expected to see them hit 12. It was just a matter of how long was it going to take. Were they going to goof off and maybe give Echo 8 a couple of rounds here, just messing around? I don't think that was necessarily the case. I think Echo 8 actually played pretty well in the rounds that they've managed to scoop up here in this second half. The problem is they just didn't have enough to fall back on. Like, you can't surrender that many and then hope that it's going to work out. They just didn't get enough rounds in that first half. So again, we see Wardell with that operator, and of course he goes for the jump peek and aggressive play coming in towards mid. Death, though, with the op over in B, actually finding the opener and throwing down the cyber cage, maybe trying to get back behind it. There was Drone sort of leaning towards that B site early on. The dark cover going down towards Heaven. You've got Wardell now peeking, waiting for this wall to either pop or wait for the Sage to come out from that position right around the corner. You do have the Sage up on top of it. There's the Raze nade coming down to do the damage.
Oh,
there's the peek. Aaron gets the kill coming in from the nade. Nice dash coming out as well. He's looking for the shot through the wall. Does connect on one with that Sheriff, but it's not enough to take down his target.
He's trying to get the flicking. Could only do so much. Aaron has the nice shot in, but Drone can trade. He's the last one alive. Pretty much surrounded, but he is a Phoenix. He's not locked in with them. They're locked in with him. He is going to make a lot of noise, though. There is a bit of a crossfire setup, and Superman with the operator able to get the frag. Depth picking up a second one. Wonder what he thinks of it. He's just going to try it out. And he was the one that opened up the scoring, right? He was the first to get the killing blade towards B. TSM never really got around that. They weren't quite sure where to go from there. They knew there was an operator on B, so tried to put some pressure onto mid. But they just wasted so much time and just lost a lot of awkward engagements. But better play from Echo 8, you're right. Oh, Def. That's a feels bad. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw it. So don't worry, it happens. We're both cypher players, we can forgive it.
Oh, the amount of times I've accidentally laid it down because it's not ClickCast. Please, Riot, make it ClickCast for God's sake. As someone who plays CS, it's really easy to accidentally hit Q and just throw one at the start of the round. You're like, oh, cool, I can't pick it up. Awesome.
I'll pick it up at the start of the round. It's just
let me pick it up before the round goes live. Maybe I can't do it while the round's live, but before the round goes live, that'd be kind of nice. Wardell pops the ult, goes up on top of the Sage wall to peek over towards Heaven. Doesn't see anything as they're not out on the balcony. Waiting currently on Sabrosa to actually open things up. They've got his ult to fall back on as well, but just can't connect.
Didn't really get any shots in there. There is a From the Shadows available for the Omen. He might just teleport just right on top of where the attackers are, just to be like, oh, yep, they're all here. Everybody brace yourselves, get Depth to rotate all the way over if needs be. But right now, they're just being patient. A lot of sort of late round ultimates to use with the Neural Theft and the From the Shadows, but I mean, the Bladestorm is still in play from Wardell. Doesn't time out, obviously, unless he misses all those shots, but now we're starting to see a bit more of a alert going towards ramp. Patient play from the defenders not to peek out too soon. They haven't given up just yet when it comes to this area of the map, but time's been wasted. 20 seconds left on the clock. The execute needs to come in now.
There's the ult coming out. Nice paranoia from Superman, but with the op, it's going to be quite difficult as they push through. Not able to connect on that somewhat blind shot inside the smoke. You've got Aaron currently underneath. It's a bit of a bloody round, but Echo 8 do come out on top, so 2 players survive. They'll even go back and scoop up the operator. The ult pop doesn't work out so well there for the Jet or for the Brim. You do have the Sage res now, but nothing around it. So Echo 8 are hanging on. They're gripping onto these rounds very tightly. Their knuckles are currently white, but at least they're making it a respectable game. If they can find a few more rounds, they'll do better than what we thought it was going to be. And there's still a possibility. Hey, I mean, TSM could start getting sloppy, start getting frustrated. We can't just necessarily count them out. Obviously, we expect this to be TSM's game, especially with the way that first half went. And it does seem like it's only a matter of time. You do have Wardell with the op again, so the buy is certainly capable of ending things here, but let's give credit where credit is due.
I mean, can you imagine if Echo 8 bring this back? That would be even better than the last game that we just saw with Code 7 and Immortals. We'd have some crazy stories to happen, but things are looking more even. I think regardless now, Echo 8 can leave with their heads held high just a little bit more than they would have done otherwise, but it's still an awful lot to do. This defense is well played, though. It's patient. They're stacking in the right places. We're all completely flashed. Brando is the first to get the killing blow. Sub Rosa does trade. Showstopper now available for Aaron, who gets the kill into Sub Rosa. It's just going to be a 3-on-4 now, so TSM is still in this. The operator is still in play, but Wardell's just not looking at the right time, and Depth just peeks him. Fortunately, Cutler does more. The res is there on drone, and Aaron's able to get a third.
Yeah, the bait res coming through doesn't really work out so well. Nice shooting from Cutler, who does have the spike and the ult, so he's going to go all the way over to the A site with the port. Almost want to see him cancel it in that situation. Make them think you're actually going to commit, or fake it. Fake it to the back of B. Make them think you're actually going A. It would have been bold. And then go for the B plant instead. Obviously, once he goes for the plant, they're going to know where it's at. He hears the drop, goes for the peek. Does Cutler have it in him to close things out? No! He runs out of ammo. The magazine runs dry. So again, Echo 8 barely survived, but they continue to put rounds on the scoreboard.
Forced out a few ultimates, I suppose. Man, Echo 8, don't do this to me. I can't deal with this. It's like... It's currently 1 AM my time because I'm over in Europe, and I can't deal with this kind of thing this late into the evening. But they're making me believe, Bok. I feel it. It's like the spirit bomb. Everybody needs to be in tune for this to happen, but somehow I think the Twitch chat want this to be a very easy win for TSM. But Echo 8 are making them sweat a little bit. This is what I mean, I guess what we were talking about at the start of the game. Like, Echo 8 just need to sort of exploit one area of TSM's game and just try and fight them pound for pound. You can't wrestle a bear, but you can't run away from one either. You've just got to find whatever works, Google it, to see what happens. That's kind of how it feels.
Well, you've got the bulk of the players currently grouped up in mid. The Sheriff from Wardell not connecting there initially. They're going to be backing off. It is even 5-on-5 strength currently. You do have Run It Back available for Drone, who's got the Vandal here, and you can see the Brim, Sabrosa, just behind him, getting ready to set up a play. We'll see if we're going to see that ult pop come out from the Phoenix, and there it is. So Run It Back has been popped. The Paranoia to lead in towards Heaven as well. They're trying to run away, and they're having a bit of a difficult time. Sabrosa and Drone can't find that tripwire quick enough. And there's the ult wearing off just as they're about to spot them. So now the support is arriving, but at this point it's almost too late. Everyone on the site has fallen. There's upgrades coming out here. The ult coming out from Sabrosa as well forces Psalm right into him, and Wardell will close things out in the end. 13-7, right around the average scoreline for Split, as TSM eventually